the baby. And literally, as soon as I hit the live stream button, I heard him over there grunting. So I heard him grunting. So I go in there, and like babies do, like he walked to his little safe space where he poops in his pants, and like now he's just sitting there doing a full squat. Perfect. It's crazy how babies can do perfect fucking squats, right? Like, don't you think it's crazy how easily babies can just like once they start walking, they could just like do a perfect squat like without even paying attention to it. Like and just hold it for like 5 minutes straight if they're interested. If they're what I mean, if they're like interested in something, they'll just do a perfect fucking squat and like literally just sit there like I mean and just be like what's this object doing like while they're doing a perfect fucking squat like with no effort. Because I was gonna live stream and cook and all that, but this time I just had too much to cook to get together. So I said, "Fuck it, I'll just wait till I finish." But yeah, so yeah, probably I'm gonna have to change his diaper in a minute because he just pooped. I gave him a bath, just fed him. That chicken I made last night, I just cut it up and put it in mixed it with some pasta. But that pasta shit, I don't know what this brand is. Let me show you guys the brand I use. It's some cheap brand. I just randomly tried this. Gustano. This is bad quality. Don't buy this pasta. This is just bad quality. It's not good at all. The pasta is definitely a weakness of what I made just now because you can taste it. Don't get it, man. Ever. Just if you're in a country that sells that shit, run away from it. Just don't buy it. I forget why I haven't bought it. Cause I usually get another brand anyway, but I tried it. Probably I think I bought it just because it was cheap. One of those things. But yeah. What's up, AD? They also take way less fall damage. Yeah, I've noticed that too, man. Like he doesn't take like when it comes to fall damage, like I can tell, like when you have your own kid, like you can especially I think the man can tell it better than the woman. Like if the baby's like genuinely crying because they're hurt or they're just crying because they want attention, right? And I was talking to the female friend of mine about this too, because she's a mom and mom's like women always have this certain sense of entitlement to the world that I'm not sure that they're even fully aware of. And another sense of entitlement comes in terms of like taking care of kids and just understanding reality. So like reality of it is most kids just want mommy all the time, right? So when they cry, like all they really want is just to be around mommy. So any cry after that is usually just them being a brat, right? So like at least in my experiences, so a big thing with me, what I found out was when his mother would be gone, he would like seriously cry because he wanted mommy, and he just wouldn't stop. There's nothing I could do. He would just when he woke up and realized like mommy wasn't here, kind of thing, and he just couldn't cry louder to get her to run into the room. He just cried like he was like seriously fucked up, right? So the part that women miss out on raising children, completely miss out. And again, women just live in their own reality with everything. But this is another very important part that I don't think many people talk about, if any, really talk about, is women never really see the reality of their children, right? Because they are the source of comfort, right? Since I'm not his initial sorts of comfort, he's gonna like I can never make him as comfortable as mommy can. So when he cries with me, it's gonna be a genuine cry, right? And he's gonna push the cry, like it's serious, right? So as a man, since you'll experience like the genuine cry, like he's only gonna cry around a man. Most kids are only gonna cry around men if they're like seriously hurt, right? So with that knowledge that men will tend to build up with raising kids is as a man, you learn how it sounds, how the cry sounds, right? Like you can tell, like with him now, I can immediately tell fast, like if he's actually hurt, did he do something to hurt himself, or if he's just doing this. He's probably laughing because he knows I make fun of him for it. Yeah, he's laughing. he just because I be roasting him for doing it. But I can tell when he's like seriously hurt, or he's just like, he just wants to be a brat, wants to be heard, or maybe he's just tired. It could be a mixture of all that, or hungry. But yeah, there's just a part of reality that just being a woman, women will just never, they'll just never acknowledge. But yeah, with the fall damage, what I found was when he does fall with me, like. Okay, there was one time he fell, and I didn't even see it. There was one time he fell, right? We were laying in bed. It was just me and him alone. And it was at night. And we were asleep. I remember I just woke up to him crying. And he was like on the floor, like on his knees. Like just crying. So he must have fell off the bed, right? I could just, you could deduce that he fell off the bed, right? But I didn't see it. And even then with that cry, like I can tell the difference. He wasn't hurt. He was just like shocked of where he was. It was dark. Mommy wasn't there. It was dark. He's not in the bed and it's dark. It was like, I think it was more of a mixture of all that. And he wasn't, because as soon as I woke up and I heard him crying, I just immediately like went over to the other side of the bed and just like picked him up, and he immediately stopped crying. Right. And that's another way you can tell if they're like seriously hurt. Because if he was like seriously hurt any kind of way, he would keep crying. Like, for example, I'll actually grab it real fast. Is this little toy model. This little drawing model. He got the running, playing through all my shit, and all of a sudden he started busting out crying. And by the way he cried that time, I can tell he had like seriously hurt himself, but I couldn't see what happened. So he was just holding his hand out, and I thought he was holding it, but some kind of way he had pinched, one of the joints had like pinched his finger, and he couldn't get it off, and he was just stuck like, because I thought he was holding it at first. I'm like, what was he doing? Like, maybe he's just being a little ridiculous. But now, see, I know he actually had it like pinched in his. Yeah, he had his. Some kind of way he had it was pinched on his finger, and he couldn't get it off. He didn't know how to what to do. He's 2, doesn't understand physics and movements yet. So of course I got it off of him because it's right here. But yeah, the fall damage with him, yeah, like he would. I think with me, he would have to take like a hard fall or just be shocked before he would like actually cry. You know what I mean? For like have a genuine reason to cry kind of thing. But yeah, but mommy doesn't see any of that reality, and it gets to the point, I think, with most kids, like with my ex-wife and her kid, like I literally caught him just like fake crying and looking at his mom out the side of his eye going, like he literally like intentionally did it. Like there was no, dodging that shit. What's up, Gaines Day? What's up, Daniel Corey? What's up, man? I'm gonna have to change his diaper before I start. Cause I know he was in there pooping because I heard him grunting. Well, let me check just to make sure. Live stream check for poop. No, he didn't poop. He didn't poop. Hang on. Let me check again. Because you was in there grunting. And I heard you. Yeah, he didn't poop. So for those of you who don't know, if a baby poops, if you put your nose that close to his butt, like you are going to smell poop. There's no like, smelling shit is like tasting bad spoiled milk. Like there's no mistaking spoiled milk. Like as soon as a drop of milk touches your fucking tongue, like you immediately know that milk, there's no questioning, right? And it's like smelling a poop-filled diaper. Like if that motherfucker pooped, like you would immediately, there's no like, maybe, I don't know. No, he did or he didn't. Right? What's up, Tack Man? Congratulations. Thanks, I guess, for the baby. Thanks a lot. Nick says they're already close to the ground. Yeah. I'm trying to think. There was another time when he just started busting out crying. It was just me and him here. he started busting out crying. I could tell it was a cry like he hurt himself. But he would like I swear he was literally just like sitting there, right? Like and he just started just like I didn't hear any sound. There was no type of sound of like, a collision, nothing, right? And he was just sitting over here by the window. And he started just like I remember because I don't think he could walk quite yet at this time. And I'm telling you, he just started just busting out crying like something hurt him, right? I'm like, what? Like I picked him up and I'm like looking at him like, what happened? I ain't saying anything wrong, right? Well, like 2 days later, his mother ends up like telling me he had like this like gash in his head, right? Hey, baby, come here. I think he wants to go outside. I'm not taking him outside. Like I just gave him a bath, and once he has a bath, I don't take him outside. He wants to go outside. I'm not taking him. But he had this gash on his head, so I pretty much just kind of deduced he must have like hit his head on this radiator over here or like heater over here. But he just didn't make a sound. But he ended up having like this like cut in his head like right here, and you could see it was like pretty rough. But it came like 2 days later. Ooh, baby. Here you go. He went through this phase where he used to just like close the door on me and then cry, or his mom. He would like he found out he could open and close doors. So what he would do is he would like go to the other side of the door wherever you were on and then close it and then cry like he lost you forever. I'm sure all babies probably do that or something similar, but they grow so fast. Yeah, gangs. I just bumped into my neighbor. Her name is Petra. Petra. We would say Petra in English, but Petra. She's always been cool. She just had another baby, and she was out, and we talk. When I see her, especially when I'm walking him, we stop and talk for a minute. She doesn't speak English, and my Czech isn't the best, but we still like communicate. And she just had a baby. A baby's 7 months old now. Like it felt like it was like a month ago. I was with her at the park, and she was still pregnant. She was like about to give birth any day, and that felt like it was maybe a month and a half ago. I remember when she gave birth. I remember because her husband speaks fluent English, and he's a real cool guy, real great guy. Her husband speaks fluent English, but she doesn't speak English. But the thing is, like, she's great. Both of them are great. She's from Moravia, which is like outside of Prague, and like pretty much Prague is just like shit for people. But like the people who come from outside of Prague are usually like great people to hang out and talk to, kind of thing. They're usually much nicer, much more welcoming. It's the Prague Czechs that are like usually awful, like where you got to be lucky to find a good one, kind of thing. But yeah, I remember when she gave birth to her. I think they got two girls. And I know the bigger one's a girl because the bigger one is like about 6 months older than my son. But yeah, she's always been great. Wait, what's up, DMG? Yeah, but yeah, time. Well, now here's the thing. For me, here's the weird part. For me and him, time doesn't go fast. I remember when he hit like 6 months, and my dad asked me. He said, "Did it feel like 6 months?" And I said, "Yes." I felt literally every hour of the first 6 months because it was awful. All he did was cry or sleep. And when they're that young, they got to wake up every 2 hours to eat. So he's like, when he was awake, he was crying, he was screaming, crying, or he went back to sleep. He didn't wake up in just a chilled mood until it was about 6 months because we were over there when it happened. And I remember I was so happy. I said, "This is the baby I want," right? That's the baby I always seen on TV. In television shows and movies. He woke up and he just woke up because before I'm not exaggerating. The first 6 months, he was either asleep or he woke up crying and cried till he went back to sleep, and that's all he did, or puked everywhere. It was like pick one, right? That was it. That's all I'm telling you, dude. That's all he did. The first 6 months were awful. I felt every hour of the first 6 months. Then He started walking around 9 months. And that was when, well, honestly, it did start feeling better for me. I remember she was holding him, and he looked over at me and he smiled. He went, like, it was like this, like, because you know when babies like smaller, like they start smiling in their sleep, but they don't know they're doing it. They start going like, when they're sleeping, they go, right? But he doesn't know he's doing it, right? But the first time he did it, where I could tell he knew he was doing it, she was holding him like in the doorway, and he looked at me and went, and that was when it really started to get a whole lot better, especially when it's just me and him. But yeah, dude, those first 6 months were it was just nothing but a complete nightmare, dude. It was, I can't even I'm not even, exaggerating one way or another. It was just like, I would just never, I was like, that was worse that was probably the worst experience in my life. Because up until then, any bad experience you have, it's usually with another grown ass adult. So you can you can either work with it, you could just punch an adult dead in his fucking face if he's, they're being ridiculous. So, something like that, right? With a baby, you can't do any of that. With a baby, like, it's a baby. So that's like a whole different situation. So, like, that's why there's a saying that I use, and I usually don't like these sayings, but in this context, I think it fits perfectly. The saying, be strong enough to be gentle, or something like that. And like that with babies, that's 1,000% true. Like you have to be strong enough to be gentle with them, and even then, it's hard. Because it's like just the little shit, right? Like they're crying like crazy, then you feed them, and then you trying to chill out, and then they start crying and puke up everything you just fed them, kind of thing. So it's like this constant, like, especially the first 6 months, like all they do all he did was just like cry, piss shit, puke, cry, sleep, and that was it. So like it's really like this huge thankless position, because it's just like you're just constantly doing something for them, and they're just like showing no signs of like growth. So there's like nothing in it for you. There's like really nothing in it for you in those, in the first few months, because they're just literally just like horrible. Like they're just a small baby and a little cute, something like that. But outside of that, they're just awful. So it's like that saying, like, be strong enough to be gentle, is definitely is definitely I think that I usually don't like sayings like those, but that with babies, I think there's no better saying. And like I said, even then, dude, it's hard. It's just not easy. Okay. If your baby was like mine, like there was just no real easy part with him when he was, in the first 6 months. First 6 months, never again. I never want to do that again for the rest of my life. Now, girls are usually better in the earlier years. They're usually, so I think boys usually get more gas and shit like that, but girls are usually easier. It's just when they get older. He was like, "Oh, hey, I remember you." What's up, Scotty Side? The baby, yeah. Baby, come here. Put some. Yay, with the baby. Come here. Hey. Yeah, ahoy. Hey, with the baby. Yay, you did it. Yay. He wants to touch the keyboard, and I don't know what's going to do if he hits a button, so I'm trying to keep it away from him. I would tickle him, but he just ate, and I don't want him to puke it all up. Shaking the papa. Yeah, okay. He wants to touch the keyboard, and I'm not gonna let him. He's mad. Read that baby thing in the style. Do the math. Read that baby thing with the baby. Well, I don't know. I can't see the title. What I made. I would. I forgot what title I even made for it, Scotty. It was good to see you, man. I ain't talked to you in a while. Well, I've been busy. Can you see him run on the bed? Yeah, I've been busy with baby Day. Day. Pose on. Day. Kuyu. Yay. Guess the remote. Let me make sure the TV's still on. Oh, yeah. So he is getting better with understanding, like, the remote is... Because, you know, if you leave Netflix on, it'll, like, finally pause, say, are you still watching? So when it does that, he'll go grab the remote and try to, like, do it himself. Or sometimes he'll just bring it to you. But that's just now he was trying to do it himself. Trying to preserve it. Because, you know, kids, man, he'll start throwing a remote or something. Like, so it's like... It's lost some functionality now because he's a baby, man. He'll like just throw it if he's mad at it or, you know, get in a mood to just start throwing shit. You never know. But so I've lost some functionality out of the remote, but it still works. I see you've been a busy man. Yeah, yeah. What you doing, baby? So the hard part with him is like, when he was smaller, I used to be able to take him to the park, right? Even a few months ago, I used to be able to take him to the park. And, what is he? And, so now if I take him to like a park, like it's gotten to the point where like I really can't take him out without a baby stroller anymore because he just wants to go like wherever he wants to go and doesn't care about anything else unless you put him in the baby stroller. So if I take him to a park, especially like you know, a park he already knows, or if a park he doesn't know, he'll walk around for like 2 minutes. He'll walk around for 2 minutes, maybe want to do one thing, and then like run to leave the park. Right? So like I can't pay for him to do any rides or anything. Because he just wants to he doesn't want to stick with anything. So when I take him out, like baby, chill. He protesting on the floor, y'all. Look. He was just hitting the floor. He wants to touch the keyboard and, you know, touch the computer. It's not going to happen. What's up, Elijah Pippin? Watching from work? Cool, man. Cool. Amir. What's up, Amir? Says, what people consider inflation in the U.S. is a joke. In my opinion, in Iran, we have 3. Oh, yeah. Inflation in the U.S., it definitely got a little rough in the U.S., but yeah, no, inflation's get hit in different areas. Inflation's definitely worse in many other places of the world. I don't know specifically about Iran, if I'm pronouncing it right, but yeah, no, I agree with you, Amir, for sure. I think that the thing is that Americans, we're not used to outside of places like New York City, California, you know, outside of these major places like that, like where I'm from, like Cincinnati, Ohio, we're not used to rent being, you know, an entire paycheck. We're not used to that, right? So in modern, for example, the apartment that I used to have back in Ohio, when I moved into that apartment, I was paying $545 a month for rent, and it wasn't a bad area. It was a good area, right? I was paying $545 a month for rent. Now you could go to I'd say the nicer places where I'm talking the walls are completely manicured, the siding on the houses and everything is perfect. I'm talking like these nicer, like more manicured apartments. They would usually run you about 1,000 to 1,200 a month. That was where like the successful people would go live in apartments. In Dayton, Ohio, many parts of Cincinnati, Ohio. That's usually what the cost of rent would be in the higher. But my place, where I live next to Whole Foods. So for an American, if you say Whole Foods, anywhere near Whole Foods is generally going to be like a decent area, because Whole Foods, they're not going to put their shit in the middle of the hood, right? For the most part. Well, when I first moved in that flat, I was paying 550. The rent creeped up to like 700 while I was here, because a friend of mine moved in and he just paid me rent to live there. Thank you, baby. Now, the same price for that apartment that I had in America is like $1,200 or $1,300, but the wages never went up. The wages never went up along with it, right? So Americans, we're not since I had been grown in the U.S. In places like Ohio, we weren't used to that. Now, places like New York City. Oh wait, you guys can see the comments. Places like New York City, places like New York, like I said, places like California, like these places were more used to that. So I don't think it was really like that much of a. I mean, it was definitely a hit, but I don't think it was that much of a jarring hit for them. But for like places in Ohio, oh, it's jarring, dude. It's completely shifted comfort zones. I told my dad if I was back in the U.S., there was no way I could be able to do what I can do over here. Like my life would end up if I was back in the U.S., I would have had to do something, or my life would have been far more limited. And I'm really thankful I'm not in Ohio with that, especially with the baby and the cost of living. But yeah, Miriam, I totally agree with you. I 1,000% agree with you. Yeah, inflation, but by the time the U.S. starts to get a lot of these problems, it's usually hit the rest of the world harder, right? By the time America starts to get the rest of the world was usually hit much harder by it. So I agree with you 1,000%, Scotty. I'm in a nice area and I'm paying around 14. Yeah, about 1,500 for a small one. Yeah, Scotty. Yeah. Like I said, when I was in Ohio, well, this was like about 10 years ago now. When I was living in that flat, I was paying 550 a month, and it wasn't a beautiful area, but it was far from a bad area. Like there was no bad area. I lived in Centerville. If you just Google Centerville, Ohio, like Centerville, Ohio, I think is one of the best places in maybe the whole state as far as like a city goes. And the rent's pretty much tripled since then. And wages have not tripled. Definitely have not tripled. But yeah. And then it's like let's say like in these other countries, like okay, so I think there's other dynamics that comes to inflation, right? And that economists generally don't really like to touch on for too long, because I think this thought it was a person walking up behind me. A grown person. But one thing that I think that doesn't get taken into account with inflation and like cost of living, raising all this stuff, is like to say like the history of your country's comfort of living, and like just political comfort of living, power of money, all these other factors that play into a person's general comfort of living, right? So let's take like the U.S., right? The U.S. Is a country that you could generally always get good technological equipment. Most people usually had a car of some sort, or things like this, right? In the U.S., we historically in modern times have always had this perspective of of if I can't do better, I know where better is, right? And I could really go there and get there. I might have to like sacrifice and work harder and all that shit like that. But it is attainable, right? Whereas let's say these other countries that maybe don't have the same resources that like a country like North America has, well, and then they don't even speak English on top of that. They've got to work through so much more just to find that same, equality in life, and it's like in the world speaking, right? If that's a good way to explain it. So so yeah, Americans right now are suffering, right? Then you add in we don't have universal health care. Insurance. I've also heard insurance rates have gone up like crazy, like car insurance, things like that. Um, so I'm not saying Americans have it easy, but what I'm trying to say is, okay, you only know what you know, right? So if all you know is North America, then it's like a nightmare. Whereas whereas on the other side, okay, the vast majority of Americans, if they really wanted to, they could find out how to get a credit card or some loan for $2,000 and just fly out and leave the whole goddamn country together, right? But what most Americans don't realize is that same $1,500 plane ticket, it's this that same plane ticket costs $1,500 or more for people outside of the U.S. trying to do the same thing, while their wages were probably half of what any American's wages were, right? So like it's this more daunting task for the rest of the world, for like many other countries to see outside of that, right? To even get to that same level, even if you're in horrific debt. What, baby? Hi. Somebody wants some attention. I want to tickle you, but I don't want you to throw up everywhere. Yeah, my insurance has almost doubled the last year and a half. Jesus Christ, Scotty, that sucks, man. Most one-bedroom apartments here are like, yeah, that's crazy shit, man. I can't do, Scotty. I can't even imagine being in the U.S. right now. I can't even imagine it, dude. Like, I've heard how grocery prices have gone up. Now, the good part about Czech Republic is the grocery prices here haven't gone up. Right, there's fear mongering that's trying to push that it's gone up, but it's been negligible, the inflation for food. Like I'm talking like, because there was a fear mongering page on Facebook trying to say, oh, check the price of Czech food went up 10%. Well, if something costs $1, it what I mean, it went up 10 cents, right? And that's not okay compared to like, no, chill, boy, come here. So, but I've heard like the food prices in America have gotten ridiculous. Yeah, cosmic, yeah, and that's something that people don't talk about too. Yeah, that I forget what it's called. Not it's the green tax. That green tax for that all that electric the electric cars. That shit's wrecking a lot of shit too. And that's something people are not talking about. I think that it's that thing. Like if you want to attack white collar shit, then it's always like a special area. Like if it wasn't white collar, it would get a lot more of attention. But yeah, that tax to produce the electronic vehicles is wild, dude. What they're doing with that shit, like it's more expensive to make it because you're gonna need to pay the workers more to make it because it's because technology, but that money's got to come from somewhere, and that is a big deal. I read into that a while back. I can't remember like all the intricacies, but the general scheme is yeah, man, like because the government the government itself had to pay a lot of that off, and then the people are paying a lot of that off. What you doing, baby? Let's open this window. Ugh. You don't want me to talk to anybody today? I mean, that's it. You don't want me to talk to anybody today. You want me all to yourself. What you doing? He's not. He just woke up from a nap, so he's definitely not tired. He's been sleeping late with me. He's taking naps around 3 and waking up at 6. And it's 8:40 now. Oh, and Jesus Christ, they're totaling out the car for that now. The amount of fossil fuels to produce. Oh yeah, the amount of fossil fuels to produce an EV, and then the amount of fossil fuels to okay, yeah, dude. When it gets to that fossil fuel shit, when it gets to like those EVs are causing way more problems than benefits. And like in its okay, EVs are the same thing like recycling. Like more money's being spent on leading people to believe that it's actually doing some good than it's actually doing good, right? Like because all the amount of time is going to take to okay, because when they're building these EVs, well, they're going to build these EVs for a certain class of people, and they're not building these EVs for electric companies to go out and do work on EVs or places or charging stations, shit like that, right? They're not doing that, right? So what's actually going out there and digging up dirt, building these charging stations, main maintenance on the charging stations, where they're using it to make the tools to work on the charging station, like all of that is what's causing the problem. Like, because when this topic comes up, I try to tell people all the time, like the driving of the actual car is like the smallest part of the pollution. Just driving a car, a bus. I mean, when you look at like the total numbers of pollution, just driving a car is literally negligible to the whole overall scheme of what it takes to keep cars moving and in production, right? But if you just write down millions and billions, people just be like, "Oh my God!" Like, well, we saved $1 million. Well, if your budget was 13 billion, $1 million is nothing, right? And that's kind of like how pollution is with driving a car versus riding a bus. Like riding a bus, I mean, yeah, it's gonna, it's still a penny saved, but it's a penny saved, right? It's a penny versus $1 million at that point. He doesn't want me to talk to anybody today. He's been like this. If I start talking, well, he doesn't even know I'm talking on the internet. But if I just start talking and it's not towards him, he's getting real possessive. The illusion of green. Yeah, yeah. They are cutting the cables on the chargers for scrap. Yeah, it's all a joke, dude. But here's the thing, like we're literally already too late to even do anything about to do it about the because I got into the pollution shit off and on, but I got real into it about a year or two ago. And yeah, like we're already too late to even fix it. Like we're just too late. Because and it's not, here's the thing, it's not just from the cars. Now it was from those 200, 300, 400 years of burning wood that did a lot of it too. Because when you just burn wood, that shit stays up, and that shit stays for a long time, right? This came from that whole burning coal, burning wood. This shit didn't just happen over the last 20 years of driving V8 engines and race cars. Like what they'll try to what they'll lead, women to believe out in the suburbs. This shit didn't start from fucking NASCAR and driving V8 Camaros. This shit has been going on from cabin houses. All that wood, coal, and shit that's been burned over all these years, and it just stays in the atmosphere. It just literally just stays there for a long fucking time, creating just a bigger greenhouse effect, right? And it's just too late. Um, there there was a, there was a few books I read about it, and one thing, the only thing that we could really do that would stand any decent chance at solving it, based off of what I read from other people's opinions, were to get essentially just I forget the exact word of it, what it's called, but essentially just fly a big plane in the sky and just suck up all the particles. But even then, it's gonna be super expensive to do that, and it's just gonna be crazy expensive. Like there's no cheap way out of fixing it. We've just done too much damage unintentionally, and we've only just now become smart enough and aware enough to realize, it's fucked up. But we're too late. We figured it out too late, right? I forget. It's not ad hoc because that's computer shit. I forget what it's called, but there was like it's a specific acronym for it where they essentially just hook it up to a big plane and just fly it up there and just suck it all in. And I can't think of the name right now. How many days do you watch Kratos? Oh man, here lately I've been watching about 3 4 days a week, and here's the reason why. Like I prefer it because his mother just never had a break the first 2 years, and pretty much just drove herself crazy doing it. So like I really do prefer it. Like I prefer to keep him like a week at a time. But I don't think she can handle being gone a week at a time. Like this is my doing. Like even when he was smaller, I used to try to make her go sleep in the other room, and so I can just be alone with him at night because she just literally got no sleep, nothing. And but she's to the point like if she even hears him cry, she'll just come run into the other room, kind of thing. So that didn't work. Trying to make her sleep over there, so we continue with her sleeping with him. So now she's finally letting up and actually taking a break, for like a full 24 hours at minimum kind of thing. Ugh, hey, baby head. A good volcano fart does more to change the climate than man can in a decade. Yeah, yeah. I've heard people talk about farming helium 3. Was it tritium? I think helium. I'm pretty sure helium 3 is tritium from the moon. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. From what I remember, and I could be a bit off, but from what I remember about the moon is the whole fascination with the moon is they're trying to get to the moon to dig underneath there, to dig into the moon to get that shit out. And that's that big push that Donald Trump was for, which Donald Trump is gonna like everybody's gonna remember him as some crazy dude who and all that. But there was a lot of I don't think Donald Trump was crazy. I just think he just grew up in a specific sheltered life and gained a little too much courage. So he'll say some shit that's just not, you know, uh, politically correct, especially for his position. But his concept of the space military, like that space military is some real shit, dude. Like, okay, here's the thing: the space military now would be like the Navy 500 years ago. So maybe, well, no, what's this? I would say it would be like saying we're gonna put a military in the ocean 700 years ago. Everybody on land would have laughed at you and thought you was crazy. But now every country has a navy, right? And space is the next frontier. First it was water. Well, first it was land. The first frontier as humans developed was land, was traveling over land. The next frontier was water. And now the next frontier is space. And that space military, it's going to happen. Okay. That shit is going to happen. It's just when. Because if humans are going to be humans, it's inevitable. If we don't kill ourselves off, the space military is going to happen. I will bet $1 million to a donut. I bet $1 million or nothing. If it doesn't happen, I just give $1 million, right? And I don't have to win anything in response. That's going to happen. The space military, it's going to happen. There's no way around it. And the baby, guess who's going to be first in command? He'll be like, "Yep, my dad said it on YouTube years ago. He's gonna use this in his application. My dad was on it years ago. It's in my blood to be a space marine." Well, yeah, true, yeah, yeah. But no, well, yeah, back to Donald Trump because he was on about that, and I remember Saturday Night Live even tried to roast him about it. Right? I mean, Saturday Night Live, they specialty is not any type of science. They specialty is just roasting people, which I mean they can do a fairly good job at. But they was trying to roast him for talking about space military. Well, let's go to the other room. And again, I think he's completely right. I think Donald Trump is a completely right. It's gonna happen because as of right now, there's no laws about what happens in space. Like, so let's say one example. Because I was reading this one dude's book called what was it? It was a good book too, but he was talking about space. and the laws and rules about space that'll be coming up. I think his name was Tim Marshall or something like that. We see, yeah, let's say like with space travel now, let's say like, if somebody kills somebody, when one person's from like Russia and the other person's from Idaho, well, what laws actually get applied? Like who's going to be in trouble? Like, are there any laws for space? No, there's no laws for space. So like so theoretically you could kill somebody in space and get completely away with it because there's no laws out there that apply, right? Because I think because once you go above that certain airspace level, then like you're living in a completely lawless land, just like the Navy was just when that first started, and just like how the first legit pirates happened, right? Those first legit pirates were literally governments who sent out their own people to steal from other governments, sent out to steal from other people. That's how pirates, like the legit pirates, first started. They were legal. Well, technically, there was no real law in the water, but at the time, relatively due to the culture, it would be deemed as legal, right? And it's real awkward I find it real awkward how schools never ever teach that, right? You pretty much have to just find it out on your own by just reading. But yeah, that was how pirates. So how pirates would continue was like the country would be like, yeah, we're not fucking with you anymore, and the employee would be like, well, this is all I know what to do. I don't know how to do anything else, and I'm not gonna go work at Starbucks for minimum wage. I'm gonna keep doing this, right? And that's how they became like like legit illegal pirates, right? Like because there were people who didn't know how to do anything else. Hey, baby. It will be adapted from maritime law. Word. Prisoners of geography. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Oh, now see, prisoners of geography. That's it. That's the exact book. Prisoners of geography. Thirsty, bro. I think the worst things for humanity would be the development of teleportation. I personally believe teleportation can happen with the portals. With portals, only a matter of time. Yeah, but the theory behind teleportation is that, like, as far as I know, and this is where things get like real, much. I think they get a bit deeper. Is like when it comes to teleportation, um, in theory, it's just like literally, it's just making a copy of yourself and putting it somewhere else. So like if that's true, in the theory that I'm speaking on, there's probably other theories, but this is just a theory that I'm going to speak on. If that theory is true, then like what is that going to do about our perception about life and who you are? Like for example, like that's why I love Nier Automata so much. The game Nier Automata is essentially the same thing. They would make copies of themselves to keep living. Well, like is that so? At what point do you really define like you as being you? Is it your memories? Well, you could just at that point you could just copy your memories. So like, is that really you, right? And it's these areas when I remember I was talking to his mom about it. She doesn't like talking about these things, but I say like okay, like think of people as a hard drive, right, in a computer or like storage space in a phone, right? If you copy if I were to copy everything in this phone to another phone, is that the same phone? Right? If I were to copy everything that's in this phone to like to a duplicate of this phone, is that the same phone? Right? And and then she goes like no and all that. Then it's like and just she starts to feel like whenever I get on this topic, it gets really depressing because it's like okay, what would be really you? What is really defining you? Is it your memories? Because if it's just your memories can be copied. But if that is that really still you? If it's just a copy. Yeah. Oh, now see, yeah, I think I think especially where we are right now, it's going to be deemed it's like just a planned killing at that point. Um, but here's the like, but the thing, like for example, the movie Invincible, the TV show Invincible had a really great situation with that too. With I think it was oh no it was the robot dude who put his body into it was the little like kind of fucked up dude who put his brain and body into a robot, I think it was, and but he didn't know which one would make, like they didn't know which one was who at that point, and that was a real interesting it was Invincible. They had a real good, pretty much everything that I liked about Invincible had nothing to do with Invincible. It was like it was all the other little things I liked about the show. But that was a really good um, part. And there's a new game coming out by the BioShock creator, and he had like if you look on YouTube, you can YouTube. I think his name is Kevin Levine. I think I was a huge fan of BioShock Infinite. I really like the original BioShock is still it's just too creepy for me, and I just can't play it comfortably. But I still love his art. I love his vision on art and style. The BioShock games, I love his vision on storytelling, that type of thing, right? So there's like an hour and a half long interview on his new game he's coming out with. Dude, I love BioShock Infinite so much. I was always Googling to see if they were coming out with, another BioShock, because I'm gonna buy it day one, because I just love his his art style, his work, his way of telling stories through recordings. Because other game developers have tried it and they just don't do it that well, and telling stories through finding tape recordings, shit like that. But he has a new game coming out where he's tackling this exact object of if I were just to copy your memories, would that really is that really still you? And it's a really interesting interview, like his whole concept of his new game he's coming out with. I would love to sit down and have. Here's the thing: the people who I would love to have a cup of coffee with are people that most people would never even know or heard. Thank you, baby. And he's one of them. He's one of them. You know who else? Tommy Lee Jones is another one. I would love to hang out. I would love to have just because the just for him to do a movie like Men in Black says a lot about his personality or his interests to me. For him to, even if it was like his agent forced him to do it, the fact that he did that, right? Like, I think that was just something that was a bit too out there to be, a basic bitch, right? What you doing? Is it Kevin Levine? Let's look it up real fast. If I can do it with holding him. I'll show you guys the exact interview I'm talking about. Oh, shit. Hang on. Kevin. I think his name is Kevin. Oh. Yeah, Judas. There it was right there. That's his new game, Judas. And yeah, there's an interview. Yeah, there he is right there. That's him. And yeah, I think he's just. But the actual interview is like an hour. The actual interview is like an hour, and it's long. It's not a short interview. I have a Steam code for BioShock Infinite. I've yet to play it. Oh man. I would highly recommend it. It's not the same horror of like the first BioShock. It's not, but it's the music. It's everything. The music. I'm like an idiot right now, but it's the music, the atmosphere, the music, the atmosphere, the story, everything, the characters, everything. Now, like the character, the girl that you work with, she's pretty much Ellie from The Last of Us, but she was it's an older game, so like it definitely aged. It's not that it's still good. It's still definitely playable, but you can tell its age. It's not like it's nowhere near like the technology now, but um but yeah, if you have Infinite, people don't. Here's my honest opinion: is people don't like Infinite because it touches on racial issues, and any game that touches on racial issues or the main or the protagonist is of a different race, is of a non-white race, it's gonna bring that backlash immediately. Now, sometimes it's called for, like in some situations, I think it's genuinely called for, given the context. Like I said, I've never been a fan of Miles Morales because I remember when Miles Morales came out, and I knew exactly what that was, and so I just never ever liked. I still don't like the character. I actually had the Miles Morales PC game, and I deleted it halfway through. I just don't like the character. But then in situations like San Andreas, like now San Andreas is just that's just pure racial shit. Like if a person had played Grand Theft Auto 3, Grand Theft Auto Vice City, and they say that they didn't like San Andreas, now that's pure racial shit right there. Because there's been no competitor to San Andreas ever since, before or after. That was just the best one in terms of like detail of what your character could do, how they could develop. There was just no. Now, Vice City did have a great story and great music. Well, all of them have great story, great music. 5 was just a complete waste of time. 4 was good. I replayed 4 recently here. It was good. To me, it just wasn't a Grand Theft Auto game. But it was a really good game. It just wasn't Grand Theft Auto to me. If it had been called like The Getaway 3, I think it would have been I would have loved it more. But the fact they called it Grand Theft Auto, it just didn't fit that kind of like pseudo real, goofy. It was far more serious. It wasn't. It didn't feel like a sandbox. I didn't care if CJ was black. Yeah, yeah. Static Shock was one of my favorite shows. Yes, Static Shock. Static Shock was good. I did like Static Shock. I did like Static Shock. I think a lot of the topics definitely went over my head at the time, and at the time I think I was kind of aging out of it of cartoons when Static Shock came out. I think I was a little older at the time. I can't remember because it was something that I just didn't really. What you want, baby? You getting hot? You want your socks off? Okay. I thought you'd be cold. Oh, I closed the window. So I get, when you give a kid a bath, you got to close the windows if you got them open because he'll be cold. So I gave him these like thick socks so his feet were hot. San Andreas had a great storyline. Yeah, yeah. With Tenpenny, and then you would just be like, and he's just massively different. Like that was the first time where I truly felt San Andreas was the first Grand Theft Auto where I truly felt like I was in a completely different environment. Like I'd be in the woods, then I'd be in a desert, then I'd be in a city. It really felt like I was just. It felt like I was truly getting lost, like in the world, and I'd have to drive like 10 minutes to get back to a city, kind of thing. Like, yeah, that was the first game that really truly made me feel it. Because 3 was just it's New York City, so you're just always in a city, right? Vice City, same thing, right? Then like 5, the map was just. I just thought Grand Theft Auto 5 was a complete waste of time. The map was just completely. It was just a city, then the rest just forest. Like it was just nothing. It was just. I just thought Grand Theft Auto 5 was just a complete waste of time. There was nothing about it that I liked. Outside, I mean, it ran well. It looked good. It ran well, but I just didn't care for 5 at all. I still can't believe they made Shaggy black, Velma Indian. Oh, I haven't. Yeah, I haven't even. I won't watch it. I never cared for Scooby Doo anyway, so it was never on my top 20 things to watch. So like, but yeah, the I can't speak on it because one, I just don't have interest in Scooby Doo, and two, I think that Shaggy should be white, right? Like at that point, like Shaggy, all these guys, those characters should be what, like Peter Parker should just be white. At this point, Peter Parker should be white. I don't care for Miles Morales, but Peter Parker should be white. Peter Parker should just stay Peter Parker. Don't change him in any kind of way. Just leave him, let him be. Okay. I think a lot of that shit should be now. If they wanted to make now, if they just flat out said like, okay, let's say for example, now DC I think would have a great chance at doing this, with getting away with this, since they completely open up the now. DC opened up the multiverse in a much better way than Marvel did. Marvel just kind of like got lazy and just resort to really bad storytelling. Where I think that last Flash movie did a much better job at bringing in the multiverses. So I think the DC could potentially, I think they have a much better chance at changing. Let's say like they could make like Will Smith Superman or Michael B. Jordan Superman. I think they could potentially get away with it as long as they specify this is like Earth 931 Superman, some shit like that, right? I think they can get away with it, and it won't be too cheesy or corny or anything like that. Whereas Marvel, when they switched the universes, that Doctor Strange movie was just not good. The Doctor Strange movie just was, I didn't care for it. It was good to finally see Professor X in it. And it was great to see that finally happen. But outside of that, I just didn't care for it. Daffy Asian and bisexual in the Velma. It's a Velma spinoff. Okay, I don't know anything about Scooby Doo. There's a game called Soma. It is a very interesting game around minds and copies. Soma. Let me look that up. Well, I could look it up on live stream. Hang on. What you doing, baby? I've seen that name, Soma. I don't want to spoil anything. Am I human? Well, that's off to a great start. It's the for part one. I don't know if you guys see that. Part one, it says, "Am I human?" So it's off to a great start. I don't want to spoil anything for me or anybody else, but I'll probably give this a shot. I'm playing this game now. Well, I haven't been playing it, but called Echo, and it has a really interesting theory. It's this game called Echo. I can't even talk much about it without spoiling like a good part. I'll just say this: you got to get through the first like 20 minutes because it's literally just a walking simulator for the first 20 minutes. But then after that, like it starts to like add up real quick, and things like those games those games that would change like something really little, or maybe something even bigger, but wouldn't tell you about like something that was in the room, and it's kind of like a psychological thriller kind of thing. That's what Echo is in, that type of world. But it's done really well, and I'm really shocked that more people it didn't get a lot of attention. What you doing, baby? Do you believe Drake is a pedo? I'm not a Drake fan, But people are accusing him without proof based on helping some girl. I get I get not liking him. I don't either, but destroying his reputation. Dude, that's how you that's what Jay Z said to Kanye. He said that the only way, as a man, the only way you know you've made it uh is if people think you're gay or so. Is if people question a man's sexuality. That's the only reason. That's the only way you know. I know nothing about him. I think I caught a whisper or something, like in a Facebook reel of him saying he doesn't like kids or something in a song. I don't know, but I don't know. I have no idea. But yeah, you as a man, like you're not a somebody until somebody calls you gay or something like that. Like okay. Now I got to go over this context of how you call somebody gay. Now, gay in a sense of okay, until society bands together and starts slandering your sexuality, like you're not a somebody yet, right? To where they feel openly free to do it, right? Because the only reason they'll feel that openly free to do it is because they know that you're so big of a person that it's not going to hurt you. Right? But whether he likes, kids, look, I have no idea. I don't. AD, it looks like I may be your neighbor. I inherited a chunk of change and have been looking at properties in Greece, Italy, and Portugal. Go for it, man. Do it. Do it, man. Go for it. I can't give a specific preference on what country, but I would say whatever you do, whatever you think, and just okay. One thing I would tell you to do, I would tell anybody to do, is if they can, create as many contacts in the world that you can, and in doing that usually means get as involved with as many countries as you can. That way you always have some type of backup plan, later on in life. Hi, baby. Javi, straight white man, bad, gay white man. Yeah. Yeah, I've heard the U.S. is in the West is kind of switched. Shit, man. So I probably been saying some shit that's outdated because I've heard it's changed in the West. Like white guys are getting it like hard. I seen some Facebook reel where like this white dude was flying to like somewhere to go find a girlfriend, right? And these girls were like these American girls like making fun of him for it, right? And they were primarily making fun of him because he was a white dude. And they were going like, oh yeah, you're white, you're lame, and all this shit like that, right? Like yeah, like that's fucked up. Like look, and I'm telling like I would tell the white dude, no, go, do whatever you got to do. Now, based like now when it comes to like current time, right here, right now, reality of right here, right now. Like I do not advocate hurting anybody just because of how they were born. Whether they was rich, said some stupid shit, anything, right? I do not advocate any of that. I would say, sometimes it can be fucked up, but I would never advocate like treating a white dude like shit because he's white. Or treating a black dude like shit because he's black or whatever the fuck. Like I would never ever advocate any of that. Cause and I've heard the U.S. is almost like switched to like hate white guys now.
that shit's wild. And I don't agree with that shit at all. But yeah. Straight white dudes are the new Jews. Jesus Christ. Was Kratos ever on a pacifier? Yeah, oh yeah. It's one right here. I just don't open it because I just don't let him use it because I felt like he's almost 2. I think he's getting too old for a pacifier, so I just don't give him a pacifier anymore. He still drinks bottles, but I try to give him like this type of bottle instead of this one, just to like get him, out that baby shit. And I try to give him stuff out of like cups, or I try to feed him like water from like this type of a boy. He pushed it in, but this type of a bottle. But I don't think he really understands fully how to drink out of a cup. Because sometimes he does it right, and other times he just puts his whole mouth on it and just let it like go in. You know what I mean? Just like gargles the shit and spits it back in the bottle. He did that shit today at the mall. I took him to the mall today. I got a water bottle. I was feeding him some bread. Well, I gave him some bread. He feed himself. And I gave him the water bottle, and like he just put it up to his mouth, and I could just see all the bread particles just like come out into the water bottle. I'm like, yep, I'm not drinking that shit. Now his mom still would. His mom doesn't care. She'll, Oh, he done put he got it in his mouth. How you get that? I thought you couldn't open that. That's why I had it in that thing. He got it out. I just had it. Look. How you get that in your mouth? I didn't know he could get that thing open. He's all right for now. That's why I had it in here because I didn't think he'd get it open. He would always grab it and shake it and then just put it down. So I thought he couldn't open it. Pulled a fast one on me. He's 18. Yeah, he's Cosme. He'll be 2 in what's today? He'll be 2. Was it Saturday? Sunday? This weekend he'll be 2. Soma got me surprised. I watched someone play it years ago and wished I experienced myself, especially the last part of the game. Word up. Yeah, I'll check it out at some point. Because I just find it hard to... that looks like a game that could probably hold my attention. But most single-player games nowadays just don't... Like, I just can't stay in a lot of stories. I really like Echo, but I haven't even touched Echo anymore. I got real in it. Like, if I play a single-player game and last any longer than 2 hours with it, like, it's rare anymore. I just play a lot of... Well, you can see... I just play a lot of, like, simulators now. Like, you see the steering wheel? This is what he likes to do. So I do the Mortal Kombat. Get over here! And what he'll do... He's going to want to go over there and reach his hand out. I just yell at him, get over here! He'll do it all. He'll do it for the next 3 hours. Get over here! Get over here. And when she does it, because he does it with her, like if I'm not here, he'll try it with her, and she'll go, get over here. Get over here. And she's a woman. She'll go, get over here. Yeah, he'll do it for her. I gotta make him stop. He'll just keep going. Get over here. Gotta distract the little baby. Baby, look. Oh. Little baby cheeks. Sunday. Yeah. 16th. Yeah, cosmic variant. Yep, the 16th. Watch, he's gonna reach his hand out. Get over here. Yeah, thanks. Yeah. Said happy B-Day. Baby. Happy birthday, baby. Happy birthday, little baby. What you doing? Do you teach Kratos English? No. Well, nobody really. You can't really. I don't think nobody even. He just like learns whatever he wants to learn. Get over here. Because she doesn't teach him. Check. I think she just some will just talk to you. No, to answer your question, Mo, no, I don't make a point to teach. The only time I speak Czech to him is if I directly want something, but I definitely do use because I don't know a whole lot of Czech, so at some point I have to just speak English. I can't speak 100% Czech to him, but his mother speaks 100% Czech, and I think sometimes they even speak Italian. So he's getting probably about 3 languages. And then if he gets around, it just depends, because we're in Europe, man. He's probably heard some of everything at this point. Oh, and today I bumped into it. So a few days ago, I was walking to the store, and there's this ramp for where you take the baby stroller. Simunavini, baby. Hotovo, Simunavini. Simunavini, Binko. Sim means I am. Unavini means tired. So I said Simunavini. And Hotovo means I'm done. Hotovo, baby. Hotovo. Sim, you spell it J-S-E-M. And it's pronounced Sim. So I'm saying I am. Sim is I am, and Unavini is tired. Alenesi Unavini. Sim is I am. C, like Spanish C, yes, but you spell it J-S-I in Czech. That's you are. So if I say C Unavini, that means you are tired. And if I say Sim Unavini, I'm tired. He took a late nap, man, so he's wide awake right now. It's been studied that children are subjected to multiple languages, but for 5-year-olds, they can pick them up quicker. Word. Cool. Yeah, man. Something I was getting ready to talk about, I completely forgot. Simon Avenue, baby. Put some. Yes, I'm Dada. Yeah, I'm Dada. Put some, baby. Simon Avenue. What time is it? It's 9:25. No more monkeys jump on the bed. He's like, you want to wrestle? Yeah. What you doing, baby? It's a matter of time. It's a matter of time before he hits it because he's getting too wild. It's a matter of time before he ends up hitting his head or something. There's a headboard right. He's gonna end up hitting something and start crying. You know how kids are, man. They start getting too wild and too energetic. And they, lose all sense of control. And he'll end up like either landing on a toy wrong or, hitting his head on something or just like landing on his arm wrong or something. He'll just start crying. At this rate, it's a matter of time. What you doing, baby? Oh, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah. So I bumped into this girl about 2 or 3 days ago. I was going to the store. She's a cute girl too. She's from Ukraine. Because first she started speaking Czech to me. They asked if I could help her with the baby stroller down the stairs. Because the way these stairs are with the baby stroller, like most women just can't do it on their own. And it's really I mean, it's not the easiest for a guy, but a guy can just say fuck it and like muscle through it. Whereas women just don't have that upper body strength to do that, right? Because it's like stairs, but it's like a ramp, and it's like pretty high, right? And so she was standing there holding her baby with the baby stroller, and she comes to me. She said, "Hey, can you help me?" So right away I could tell she wasn't Czech because she asked me. Most Czech women, they not gonna ask a black dude for help. Right? Czech women in this regard are like a pretty little white woman ran to a black man's arms. Dead giveaway, like that shit. Like Czech women are like that. They not gonna go run to a black dude for help. So I immediately knew she wasn't Czech when she came up to me and started talking to me, in need. Right? So then she goes, "Oh, you speak English?" I said, "Yeah, I speak English." She goes, "Oh, I'm sorry. Can you help me with the baby stroller?" I said, "Yeah, I get it. I got a 2-year-old at home. I understand." So I took the baby stroller, and we talked the whole way. She's Ukrainian, and she's married to a Mexican dude, which I said that's a weird combination. You don't hear that every day. A legit Ukrainian girl married to a legit Mexican dude. Like, you don't hear that shit every day, right? And she can speak fluent English on top of that. That's super uncommon. So we got to talking, and she's real cool. And then I bumped into her today, and I had myself when I got back from the mall. I had him with me, and we were riding the same tram back up here. And so, and we got to talking about life, and then she ended up asking me for my number because we were talking about Blender. And because she used to do graphic design, and she ended up asking me for my content, which she was real cool. But I asked her would she be interested in recording, and me asking her questions and recording like what's going on in Ukraine, because we were talking about what's going on in Ukraine. She said she said Ukraine's fucked up. It's not in the best shape, but the city that she's from is like, she says it's not far from Slovakia, I think. So her area is pretty okay. Like, because, they're not going to want to start any war with any EU country. Because once you get to the EU, now you're going to bring North America directly into it. And Russia really doesn't want that. Right? So she was saying, like, yeah, like, back in Ukraine, like, landlords were, like, kicking out their own people and charging them, like, way higher rent. Like their own people were, like, they were turning on each other in these times. Like, and like the stories I was talking about a while ago, like she was like, yeah, all that's true, like all that's going on, like it's even worse in many cases. But like their own people, and they're not putting this in the news because she was there with her aunt. Her aunt didn't speak any English at all. Her aunt was older. She said her aunt came here in 1997, and she spoke Czech, Russian, and Ukrainian, but no English. And but she was both of them are real cool. And yeah, she was saying like all those stories that you hear in Europe about Ukraine are true. It's probably even worse. How like their own people are turning on each other, like to get more money. They're like just pretty much cheating in line to get aid money, everything, dude, all that. But they'll never put that on ABC News or CNN, anything like that. Even back when it was like, prime time for the whole news and war, before that donation fatigue hit, they would never put any of that on TV. But she said yeah, all that shit. So I asked her if she would let me record her asking her questions about it. And so we'll see if we get around to it. Because she said they're going back to Ukraine soon. So I don't know when they're going back. But I got her contact information. She gave me her Instagram, I think. I think she gave me her. She asked me for my phone number. I don't know. Could I get around Czech using Dutch, German? Maybe, maybe cosmic variant. I wouldn't say it's a complete guarantee, but if you, I would say the further north you would go, you pretty much you would be guaranteed to get around with Dutch on some level. Probably better than English, but like in Prague, you'd probably have a little. I would say you probably have a little harder time with the German. Um, and when you in the context of like getting around, like I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. I when you say get around, I can't really answer that completely accurate as like a complete foreigner coming here and doing it. And then if German's not like your first, if German's not your first language, then too you might have an accent, and that might fuck it up. I don't know. I really can't answer that completely. But I will say there will be people who will know German here, but how many and how fluent they'll be, that's a whole nother situation. Now on the flip side, like you couldn't go to Germany and walk around speaking Czech. You can't go to France or Germany, or you can't go to any country outside of Czech, outside of Slovakia, and expect to speak Czech and be okay. Like you're just not gonna get anywhere with it. But you would find somebody here who would speak German, but I don't know like the other intricacies. I don't know how viable it would be over English. Copy. I'm hoping to be in Europe next year this time. Good, cool, man. Mo says Ukraine pretty much acts like a corrupt third. Yeah, Mo. And it kind of goes back into their history of like development. They kind of had to be because there was like a big crossroads. Like Czech Republic got lucky with that, whereas Ukraine pretty much got Ukraine is what Czech Republic really should have been. But I think due to logistics wise, Czech Republic kind of escaped that. But they still do have a lot of that mentality in them, but they just stay among their own little cliques far harder. But the reason why Ukraine is generally is like that is because that was a big crossing grounds for many cultures. So like that whole area, like even to this day, like their laws will change at the drop of a hat. Right, and nobody will know. Nobody really and the reason why there's laws always have to change is because they always had people coming in and out, abusing shit, making new shit, whatever. The good part about foot traffic is you can learn a lot more about different cultures. The bad part about having high foot traffic is you're more exposed to different scams, right? So once that happens, like there's really no going back from that unless you like pull a Germany and try to kill everybody off. Like there's no way to really reverse that. But yeah, no, yeah, like the stories out of Ukraine, like when I was there, I was hanging out with this one girl. We would talk, and she said, "Yeah, like you just don't go to the doctor in Ukraine, like unless you can pay the doctors to be seen, like under the table. Like you just don't go to doctors in Ukraine as a Ukrainian. You just don't go. You just survive, kind of thing." Like, but then on the other side, like Ukraine is great if you, well, not now because of Russia, but before, if any, like most of the people I met there when I was there who could speak English were like from all over the world, and they use Ukraine as a hiding zone for whatever reason. Maybe they owed a lot of child support and they didn't want to go back home, or they was in some type of crazy debt somewhere else, and they were using, or they got like me, I got deported. Ukraine is great for foreigners who have the resources to get there and are trying to hide from the rest of the world. That from my perspective, that was the primary reason to go to keep Ukraine as a viable destination. Now, Czech Republic is very similar. You can easily run off in one of these back villages and hide out, and nobody will ever know. Right? Like you could easily. Actually, the girlfriend, the female friend of mine, her kid's father never paid her child support, and he's behind. I think she said he's behind like $30,000, right? and he went back to North America. And the story I'm getting is that they took his passport, they took his driver's license and passport because he's just so far behind in child support. And I told her, I said, look, yeah, the worst idea was to go back to North America with that. He could have easily hit off one of these European countries and never been heard from and seen from again. I said he could have easily lived in Chescalipa and just disappeared. Right? Nobody would have known. It's not because it wouldn't have been documented, but it's just because of how their culture is. Like, it's like in North America, right? Let's use like Ohio, for example. Right, let's use my brother. Perfect example, my brother, right? I don't mean this to like make fun of him, but it applies to this explanation. My brother got into trouble in like Colorado or something like that. On the other side of North America, for those who aren't familiar with North America, it's pretty much the other side from Ohio, give or take a little bit, but it's far. Well, he came back to Ohio, and he got pulled over for like like running a stoplight or some shit like that, and they sent his ass all the way back out to Colorado. Right? Right. Whereas like out here, their systems ain't that tied in that well like that. Like you can still work your way out of shit over here. In the U.S., it's definitely much harder. And a funny part was I was talking to the female friend of mine, and she was saying how she's saying, oh yeah, he won't be able to travel to another state because she doesn't know how the U.S. works. Like in Europe, you can have more issues with like, you know, if you want to fly somewhere, you know, in Europe, there's a chance you might get in trouble a whole lot more. Like in America, as long as you're in North America and you're North American, like I was trying to explain to her, as somebody from Ohio, I can literally just drive to California and start working a job, right? Like we don't have that visa shit for the states, right? Like we can cross state lines and there's absolutely no implication, there's no complication to living. Right. And I had to really explain that to her. Like, it's not like over here where, like, if you're Czech, like, and you want to drive to Germany to get a job, like, you might run into a complication in, like, trying to find a housing or something like that. Right. Depending on how your country's agreements are. Whereas in the U.S., like, we don't have that. We can just, I mean, it's probably a little bit here or there, but for the most part, we can just go wherever we want in the U.S. and be fine. I face out of state warrant. Okay, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, my brother, he got in trouble. He just got another DUI too. That guy's like, I don't know what's going on with him because he's on child support in the U.S. And last I heard, he got another DUI, and I just don't know what's going on with him. You teach English there? No, I don't teach English. If someone modifies your genetics, would you still be you? Like modifying your genetics for you not to have cancer, you may be cured, but what if that modification also changes you as a person? Yeah. He's sitting here resting on my back, watching his tablet. But yeah. Yo, Borat, that dude, like, I had no idea. Borat, like, that shit was funny. But, like, Borat was funny, but, like, that was fucked up. Like, that movie was fucked up, what he did to make that movie. And, like, just kind of ran away and nobody said anything about it. Like, that was fucked. Like, here's the thing. What's his name? Sacha Baron Cohen? Even if a lot of that stuff was lies, like where he said that he was gonna like go back there and pay the people for making the movie and all that, even if that was all fabricated and he never actually said it, or maybe he actually went back and paid in some kind of way, right? Let's say even all that was lies, like that. Okay, see, that was fucked up. The reason why I'm gonna say that's fucked up. And see, this is the differences between Europe and North America, right? See, Europeans aren't violent, right? You have violence everywhere you go, but Europeans on a whole are not violent. Americans are violent, right? Now, let's take a movie like Borat, for example. Yeah, baby. Zimun Avenue. Watch, he's gonna hold his hand out. Yep, I told you. Zimun Avenue. So let's take a movie like Borat, this is why, this is where like the whole European badass thing kind of like it gets on my. I find it disgusting and annoying because let's take a movie like Borat, right? Sacha Baron Cohen went to a poor area in Eastern Europe and made a movie essentially mocking the people, right? In their country, in their village, and all that shit. They let him in the village. They was poor and all that. They let him come there with cameras and all this shit like that and dress up and let him walk around, act like a fucking ass, and mimic him and all that shit. Made a movie and left him, right? Or let's say he did it, right? Now, Sacha Baron Cohen would never dare do that shit in North America because he'll get his ass shot in North America, and he knows it. See. And that's why I like when the Europeans want to be like tough and all that shit. I'm like, yeah, like y'all motherfuckers ain't that. I'm not the toughest guy, but these guys are not like tough. Like they would never dare step foot in fucking Winton in over the Rhine, what over the Rhine used to be 20 years ago. But it's always places like that in North America. A Sacha Baron Cohen dude would never dare step foot in a poor North American area and try that same shit. I would promise you that. I would guarantee it. He'd be too scared. He'd be sitting over there with Ben Shapiro and them types of dudes. They gonna sit somewhere and learn everything from a fucking book and shut the fuck up and be quiet. Right? He gonna be one of them Ben Shapiros. You just cough all on me, baby. That's cool. But yeah, there is no like the Sacha Baron Cohen dude would never dare go into a black neighborhood try to walk around. He'll do that shit while he's on TV, while them Negroes is about 500 miles that way. He'll be Ali G'd in, but he ain't gonna. Sacha Baron Cohen will piss his pants if he had to go down to Martin Luther King Boulevard and play Ali G. Could you imagine this shit? He'd have to wear. I had to give him some of my baby's diapers to go do that shit in a bulletproof vest. I dare. I would. Now Arnold Schwarzenegger deserves. Was it Arnold Schwarzenegger who did it or Bruce Willis? I can't remember. Who was the one who? No, it was Bruce Willis who walked down. Who walked down Harlem with a sign that said "I hate niggers" on it. Now that deserves respect. I wouldn't do that shit. And he did that. That deserved respect. That took balls and courage, right? Sacha Baron Cohen's just a fucking clown, right? That I hate. What was that? That I hate nigger shit. Let me find it real fast. I hate niggers. Movie. Die Hard. Yeah, that's it. Cause I never seen Die Hard. Yeah. Now this shit. Oh, you can't see what I'm looking at. Hang on. That deserves respect. Now that deserves respect. That took courage. If I could get it back on me. That deserves respect. To do that. That took courage to do. To not be absolutely crazy and do some shit like that. Like, yeah, Ali G would never have a half an ounce. I mean, what's his name? Sacha Baron. He wouldn't have half amount of balls to do some shit like that. Back then or now. Okay? Like I said, he'll do that shit on TV as long as them niggers 500 miles that way. He'll do all that. Or he gets one cool black dude to come in, you know, who could play along. But he ain't gonna do that like how he did Borat. No, he's not gonna do that. I guarantee Sacha Baron Cohen is not. He is absolutely not doing that shit. And he knows it. Just like Ben Shapiro went like where Donald Trump tried to talk about the Mexicans, and he went to Mexico and he changed that tone up real quick. So yeah, that's Sacha Baron Cohen. That's them Ben Shapiro. See, them Ben Shapiros would do that shit. They ain't saying half that shit. If they find themselves anywhere near a population of Negroes, they gonna shut the fuck up real quick. I will guarantee it. That reminds me of the scene from Family Guy where Peter went to a black neighborhood and said the N word with a heart. I never even seen that. Okay. But yeah, but with that Borat shit, like this shit, like it was funny. I say that it was funny, but like that was some pussy bitch made shit for real. Like for real, that was some hoe ass pussy shit, and like somebody really should have beat the fuck out of him for doing that. It was funny. Like I can recognize comedy. It was funny, but he should have got his ass beat for that, for real, for doing this. Because like I said, see, he's not okay. Now, what was he doing? Ali G. He was doing Ali G, where he was being like a rapper dude. Yeah, see, now he's not going down. He wouldn't make a movie where he's going to the hood in North America and trying to be Ali. He wouldn't do that. That's not going. That will not happen. Period. Or how he would say full stop, because he's gonna get his ass shot doing that out there. Because see, they're poor too, but them poors in North America, them poor thugs in North America, they know how to get guns, and they will use them. Right? It's not gonna happen, and he won't be able to go in there and okay. Here's the see, he goes around them Negroes in them hoods in North America and tries and shit. They'll say, yeah, well, yeah. You come down and pay us money, and they gonna get that money and fucking rape his ass in the back fucking room. Like Richard Pryor said, not because they're gay, just to see the look on your face. This is fucking clown, man. Like that Borat. Like if you don't believe me, what? Watch it. Like there was a documentary made on that Borat shit, man. Like, and they and a lot of that came out. Like how he's supposed. Now, even if a lot of that was even lies, even if all that shit was lies. Just the fact that he went in there and did that shit like that. If you look past because it's funny parts. If you look past the comedy parts, the fact that he went in there and did that shit, right? Like, here's the thing. I would not go to, there is no, okay, even when I was in Argentina and I seen some slums, like some legit slums in Argentina, right? Now, when I say slum, I'm not talking about just like people going to work in like, in shitty environment. I'm talking slums like they ain't got no roof. The walls are busted and broken down. There's like a random dog walking down the street. Puddles everywhere. Like these motherfuckers ain't got no roof. Slums type of shit. Like it looked like the place has been bombed, kind of thing. Like these type of slums, right? Dude, when I seen these, let me turn this down. I'm just gonna turn it down, baby. When I seen those slums for real, I remember thinking to myself, there is no, like, I wanted to take a picture to show people, like, back home, but I remember thinking to myself, like, I can't take a picture of this, because this is how these people really live, right? These people, and I think it takes either a special person that's just loyal to, spreading the news, or a piece of shit that can do that can take a picture in these situations. Like, I could not take a picture of these. I could not take a picture of these people living like this as if they were a zoo animal, right? I couldn't do it. Now, other Americans I was with, they could. I didn't do it. I couldn't. Because these are people, right? So I got around and asked, like, how'd they end up like this, blah, 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 da, da, da. Long story short, they were I think they spoke a different kind of Spanish that was like, it would immediately give away they were like lower class, so they could never get real jobs. It's fucked up, man. It's real fucked up. But yeah, to go in I couldn't even take a picture, let alone go over there and make a movie to pretend I'm like them. Be like, oh yeah, los sentidos are calzones, but just speak whatever the fuck, just like there is no way I as a human, maybe as a piece of shit asshole, but as a human in my own body, in my mentality, in my morals, I could not go put on a fake mustache, some shitty fucking wig and a cheap suit and make a whole accent and walk around in town impersonating, making a caricature out of these people for days on end straight. Because when you make a movie, this ain't a 20-minute thing. This motherfucker went into character, right? And walked around. He went there knowing he was getting ready to do this shit with a camera crew and invested money in this shit to do it. Like, who the fuck, where is your mind as a decent human to even think that's a good idea and be comfortable with it? What, baby? I'm ready to go because I think he's getting, it's getting tired. He's getting tired. But I just think he's a piece of shit for that movie. I really do. Even it was funny, but I think he's a piece of shit for it. Like I said, on the flip side, he's not going as Ali G to Harlem and doing that shit. Or like a hood anywhere in Midwest America. He's not doing that. No. Unless he's got about 3 packs of diapers and 3 bulletproof vests. And have a rape kit on him. That's about the only way he's gonna do that. But yeah, man, I just think that's super fucked up. This is why old white dudes like your live stream. Thanks, Cosmic Vagrant. Well, even then, that dude, he wouldn't go. I highly doubt he would go to one of them poor white redneck areas. Them places down in the South, you get off them main streets and hit them dirt roads. Dude, I'm not going down there. He wouldn't do that. See, the fact that he went, and the more I think about it, the more shittier it sounds. He went out there to do that, dude, and walked in that village where people was living and eating and breathing and shit, and did that shit, right? And to mimic them, right? It was funny, but that's really shitty. There's just no good way out of it. Like I said, the only good way out of that is if he were to do that, if he were to keep doing it. If he were to go to Asia, do it there, and do it in North America, do it in other places. But see, he knew out here in Europe, he would still be regarded as the rich Western European, and he knows these Europeans ain't violent, so he was pretty much safe off to go do it out there like that, right? Because like I said, he goes in America and do that shit, he gonna get his ass raped or killed, 1 or 2, if not both. See, we never did, baby. Come on, say bye-bye. Say bye, baby. Come here, baby. Say bye. You're shaking that papa. We getting ready to go. Yeah, I'm trying to make this screen. There. Here, say bye, baby. Baby. Pochke. Shaking that papa. Look, it's you. That's you, baby. Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna get out of here because it's late. It's going on 10. I'm ready to put in the bed. After the late nap that he took, woke up at about 6. So yeah, I'll let you guys go, man. Have a good day, evening, night. Wherever you are. And I'll catch you later, man. Peace out.